Fourth grade warriors, how are you? It's so good to kind of be together again. For those of you who are new to Western Oaks, I am Mrs. Adams. I'm the art teacher here. And so art class, of course, just like everything else, is going to be a little bit different this next 9 weeks. Every Tuesday and every Thursday, you are going to have a link, just what you clicked on today. You're going to have a link every single week 2 times, and we are going to do a drawing together 2 different times a week. Now, this is so important, guys. You need to remember every single time to take a picture and to submit it just like you submit any other classwork under the art folder in either Seesaw or, well, you guys are Google Classroom, of course, because you're 4th grade. In Google Classroom, you're going to submit it to me just like you would any other assignment for your regular classroom teacher. We are giving grades. That wasn't my idea. We have to give grades, so you have to show me your work. Now listen, I know things are very, very different. I know you don't have access to a lot of school supplies. You don't have all my shelves chock full of stuff to grab to use. Use what you can. We are not gonna focus on using exactly what I use. You have some crayons at home. You have this unlined paper at home. This all went home with you in your packet for Meet the Teacher Night when you got your iPad and your other supplies. So you should have those 2 things at least. And so just do your best. And of course, I know maybe you're at mom's house instead of dad's house and you don't have your crayons with you. That's okay. I just want you to do the drawing with me with whatever you can do. And if you're lucky and you have some other really cool stuff at home, if you have paint or if you have colored pencil and you want to color in with that, totally fine. You know me, I'm easy about stuff like that. But you do need to follow along and at least attempt the lesson with me every week and just show me where you're at with your drawing, and we're going to keep up our drawing skills over the next 9 weeks together. That's my main focus. So please don't worry, don't not do the drawing because you forgot your crayons at grandma's house, okay? I still want you to at least do the drawing. And of course, I want you to color in as best as you can. Do you guys hear that? We are in my actual art class here at Western Oaks. So you know my loud air conditioner sometimes kicks on. It's gonna happen while we do our videos. You know I might get a knock on the door from another teacher. It's gonna happen just like if we were at school all together. So just remember, I'm teaching just like I normally would if you guys were with me. And I really wish you were with me, but this will be fun for the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll get to see you soon, okay? So let's just jump right into it. For those of you who are new, who have not taken art class with me before, I like to do, when we're doing drawings, I'm going to show you sort of step by step how to break down the drawings and how to put the different pieces back together to create a picture. And so please, please, please do not worry if you've never done a guided drawing before. First time for everything, right? And so I want you to just do your best. You, of course, don't have my fancy pens at home. You have pencils, and for those of you who've taken art class with Mrs. Adams, you know I don't usually love pencils, but because of our distance learning, you can absolutely use your pencils. You can use a pen, you can use a marker, just draw with what you can, just do your best. But if you use pencils, I ask you, don't worry about perfection, guys. You are not going to make a perfect drawing every time. You might not make a perfect drawing this entire 9 weeks. I'm the art teacher. I might not make a perfect drawing this entire 9 weeks. It's fine. There's no such thing as good or bad in art. So please don't spend the whole time erasing every mark you make, okay? This is just practice. This is just for fun. Nobody will see what you make online except for me. So please don't be nervous about drawing along with me. Just do your best. But I don't want you to get into a habit of erasing every time you make a mark, okay? It's art. No big deal, no right or wrong, just go with it, okay? We're gonna start off with something super simple just to get right back into things. So, with your paper that you have for art, I want you to take 1 piece. I only have enough for you guys to do 1 piece per project, okay? So please don't go through the whole packet of paper this first lesson, okay? You just get 1 piece. So just do your best and no worries if it's not perfect. But get 1 piece, and we of course are gonna make, you guys have probably seen these before, they grow all over Oklahoma, a sunflower, nice and tall. Sunflowers can be way taller than me. And so I want your paper up and down tall, vertical, nice and tall, and we're just gonna jump right in. Just give it your best. I know we probably haven't been drawing much over the summer, so we're starting off with something easy, okay? So have your paper vertical, nice and up and down tall. We're gonna start probably not right in the middle. You might wanna move the center of the sunflower up just a little bit. All we're gonna do to start, just like normal, just like in art class, you're just gonna do a little dot for the very center of the sunflower, okay? Start with a little dot. Now the centers of sunflowers, they're very textured. We've talked about that word before, the way something feels or the way something looks like it feels in art. So we're gonna make it nice and rough and bumpy, especially in that very center. So I've got my little center dot right here. All the way around it, I'm just gonna make sort of a dotted line because it's rough and bumpy, so I'm gonna make a nice rough, bumpy dotted line around. And then in here, I'm just gonna kind of make little curve lines coming out, almost like fireworks kind of coming out from that very center dot that you started with. I'm just gonna kind of make little textured, little bumpy curve lines all the way around and just fill in that little circle, okay? So this is the very, very center. Then I'm gonna go around and make the rest of this, the outside edge of that circle, of that very center part of the sunflower. Same thing, it's still rough and bumpy, it's still got texture, it feels rough and bumpy, so we're not gonna make a smooth line, we're gonna make a textured line, we're gonna make a broken line. And I'm just gonna make it, you know, however big you want the center part of your sunflower to be. There is definitely no right or wrong. You guys that have taken art class with me before know there is no right or wrong. You're not gonna get it wrong, I promise. Make it however big you want. Now, the petals, of course, everybody's gonna make them a little bit different. So some flowers have kind of, you know, wide, broad leaves or petals. Some flowers have very like skinny, sharp, pointy petals. Some flowers are kind of in between. So you're gonna make them as long as you want. You're gonna make them as thick as you want. You're not gonna get it wrong. So we're gonna start at the top, and you're just gonna kind of make a curve line that comes up. And they are a little pointier on the edge, on the end, and then they're a little bit wider as they come in and touch. So kind of keep that in mind. So I'm gonna keep it a little skinnier at the top, and then I'm just gonna kind of bring it down. It curves just a little bit and come down and touch. Now I bet almost all of you have drawn flowers before. So if you wanna go ahead without me and you wanna start to just fill in the petals all around, you sure can. I will do step by step for those of you who, you know, it's been a while since you've drawn and you want a little step by step, I can sure do that. But this is the time, if you want to, go ahead guys, fill it all in. A lot of you have drawn with me lots and lots of times, and you can look at this and you don't need me. Great. Another thing that makes me remember, another thing I wanna talk to you about is, what's kind of cool is since we're on video, you can push pause. So if you need a little bit more time to add details, you're welcome, of course, to push pause. You can't pause me in class, but you can pause the video, right? So you are welcome to do that if that's what you need to do, no problem. Anyways, we've got one petal. And then fourth graders, I want you to think about overlapping. We've talked about overlapping before. So if I've got my hand here and this hand is overlapping, you don't see all of my hand, it's covered a little bit. Petals are overlapping, okay, around the sunflower. So it's gonna make it a lot more realistic looking. If you have some petals sort of hiding behind, if you have layers, that's gonna make it a lot more realistic than just perfectly aligned, perfect petals all the way around, okay? So something to think about as you're drawing your petals, okay? So to do an overlapping petal, I might wanna show a petal hiding a little bit behind this one. So I'm gonna start not at the bottom, but sort of about halfway up, and I'm just gonna make that part of the petal. And see, I can't see the whole petal because it's being overlapped. I'm gonna keep it skinny again on the top and then just kind of bring it down. And guys, these are petals. These are not perfect. You want them sort of wavy, you want them sort of easy going. It's not like a perfectly smooth, perfect line, okay? So I've got one over here. Maybe I want an overlapped petal on this side, and I'm not making it perfect. I'm just kind of waving it, just kind of making it definitely not perfect. So I'm gonna do that over and over and just kind of fill in my space. Now, something you might think about too, as you come down, the petals that are closer to us, they might look a little bit more bent. They might be a little bit more curved because they're sort of like laying out. So it's something you might want to think about. So let's do until the sides and then we'll look at the bottom, okay? So I've gone over, I'm going to make a really overlapped one over here. So I'm just going to start it kind of tall. And I'm just going to kind of make an overlapped one there. Maybe I don't want an overlap. Maybe there's a little space between this side. See how it's so, I want it to be not perfect. The less perfectly shaped your petals are really, guys, the more realistic your flower is going to look, okay? So we've kind of gotten to the sides and the top. Now I want to think about the bottom, like I was saying earlier, that kind of curves a little bit more. So I'm just going to sort of curve it a little bit more. And then watch, this side is just going to kind of curve down a little ways. And then it's just going to sort of follow it. And it's going to get a little skinnier. See how it gets skinnier and it just sort of curves like that? It looks a little bit more realistic because it looks like it's opening up, okay? Let's try it on this side. I can make another curve line. And again, this is just going to kind of follow. It's going to kind of curve over. And then it's going to curve down and touch. And see, I've got lots of space, so of course I'd want to sort of fill in. I can show some overlapping petals, kind of filling in. One can be more curved, one can be not. Guys, check this out. There is just absolutely no right or wrong way, okay? So just fill in the spaces because sunflowers do have layer on layer on layer of petals, okay? So really add in, peeking out behind these petals. You can add in as many as you want, sort of peeking out, okay? Don't forget the top. Okay, so we also now want to add some detail to our petals, to the inside part, the middle part of the sunflower. So let's look at the middle part of the sunflower. It is covered, of course, in the sunflower seeds, right? Maybe some of you guys have had sunflower seeds before. So inside there are tons of little, it's lots of little texture, okay? Tons of little curve lines, tons of little circles. Now you could spend an hour coming on here and making perfect, teeny, tiny circles. And you could take your time and you could do that, or you could do sort of an artist's trick and you could make some circles here and there with some curve lines, and that's a little faster. And I want you to notice, wherever I draw a lot of those circles and curve lines, see how it looks a little darker? It looks like an area that's a little bit darker. And then it sort of looks like the sun is shining and you see a little bit more of a highlight where there's not as many marks on your paper. So kind of think about that. You don't have to do everything exactly even. You don't have to have it every single centimeter covered. You can leave some spots open and it just sort of looks like it's a little brighter there. Does that make sense? So that reminds me, if that doesn't make sense, if you have any questions ever with your art class, you need to know that I am open with my office hours 8:30 to 9:30. I will have a Google Meet every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if what I just talked about does not make sense, please, 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 there will be a link for my Google Meet every morning, and you can get on anytime between 8:30 and 9:30 and say, what were you talking about, Miss Adams? And I'm happy to help, okay? So back to our drawing. We're gonna go ahead and continue and add just some texture here and there. And I can make some real rough, bumpy curve lines. I can make some wiggly lines. This is just sort of an artist's trick to give who's looking at your artwork sort of the idea that the whole thing is covered, but you don't have to cover the whole thing, which is kind of nice. So right here, if you wanted to pause the video and add it and make it how you want, you could absolutely do that. I'm just gonna go really quick, and I would probably add a little bit more detail on mine, but for those of you who are not paused, I'm gonna continue on. Like I said, add as much as you want, okay? Now, of course, the petals also, they have lines kind of going down the middle. So on this curved petal, I'm not just gonna make a straight line down. I'm gonna follow the curve, and I'm gonna make that sort of center curve line. It might even be double or triple. It might even touch on the end. And I'm just gonna make a few little lines on that petal. I can do that. Same on the other. Remember, we're gonna follow that curve. We're not just gonna make it straight because the petal's not straight. We're gonna follow the curve we already have, okay? And you can do, you know, long ones, short ones. You can do all your petals or just a few. but I'm just gonna add some nice lines here and there. And look, the less perfect it is, the more realistic, okay? So just kind of follow the curve that you already have and just add a few little details on your petals. So get this portion of the flower how you want it, and then whatever room you have left, I don't have that much room, and that's okay. You're just gonna draw what you can, of course, just like in art class. Just draw it right off your page. If you only have room for this much of a stem, that's fine. If you have tons of room, the stems can be super, super tall. So no worries, okay? Whatever you've got is fine. I'm gonna look though, sort of at the middle of my sunflower. I don't wanna start the stem like over here, because of course the stem is connected to the very center of the flower. So I'm gonna look at the very center, and I'm gonna stop and jump over. And I'm just gonna make a little bit of a curve line down. I'm gonna make it a little wider. The stems aren't, you know, like super, super, super skinny. They have a little bit of thickness to it to hold up that big flower part. So I'm just gonna make it a little thicker and make another curve line down. We'll just start that stem. Now for the leaves, I'm gonna show you a couple different leaves just to make it, you know, a little bit more interesting. We're not just gonna have like the perfect leaves coming off the side. We'll kind of make them a little folded and more interesting looking. So I'm gonna start on one side, and I'm just gonna make a curve line out. Now to make this leaf look sort of folded, on the bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and dip it down. It's gonna curve down, and then it's gonna curve back up, getting a little closer. And then it's gonna curve over and stop. And then you can show a little bit of a dip out on this side to show where it's kind of folded up, where you can see that other side. And you can add just a few little curve lines on that top part, just to show that this part is sort of folded and you don't see as much. I could even come back here and show a leaf completely on the other side of the stem, overlapped. There's that word again, overlapped by that center part of the stem. I can show just another part of another leaf, just stopping, jumping over, just totally behind this stem and kind of coming in. Make it as thick or as skinny as you want. And see, look, I'm just gonna continue my stem down. And if it doesn't already touch, go ahead and just make that touch. I could make a leaf folded completely facing you like this one that's also gonna overlap that stem. So to do that, I'm gonna start with a curve line that juts right across. It goes right across this first stem. So look, it's gonna start over here and it kind of goes right across. Again, if this stem is not already touching, go ahead and make it touch. On this side, I'm just gonna kind of curve it down. And it's a little different shape since it's folded. So on this side, I'm gonna make it curve over, and it kind of curves down too and gets skinny. Now I'm gonna start about the middle, somewhere about the middle of this little curve line right here, and just kind of follow that curve just like we did on the petals. You don't want to make it straight because the petal's not, or the leaf is not straight, it's curving down. So you want to curve it down, and then I can just kind of make those little veins coming off the center. Now look, you can see the veins on this side because of the way it's folded. You see more of the veins, so they're going to be a little bit longer, okay? They're kind of short on that side, and then they're a little bit longer here. So you're just going to kind of add your veins however you want. Then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and curve this out. Look at the very end. I'm going to curve this out just a little bit and bring it on down. And this just sort of disappears. It sort of becomes part of the stem. So I'm gonna let this curve because I don't have much room. I'm just gonna let mine curve all the way off the paper. Then I'm gonna look at this side of the stem, this side right here. I'm gonna stop, jump over all the way off my paper. Now, if you have room and you wanna add like another leaf, I don't really have much room over here, so I don't think I'm gonna add on this side. Maybe I want to add like another leaf overlapped over here and just kind of make it really hang down, like curve it up and hang it down. And it's just, you're not going to see much of it. You're just going to kind of follow it for the veins. Just kind of follow it. I mean, you really don't see much of it. So that's what's really going to make your sunflower a little bit more interesting than like two perfect leaves sticking off the stem. Does that make sense? So that was it, guys. That was our first distance learning art class together. When it comes to coloring, you should have some crayons at home. If you, like I said earlier, if you don't have crayons handy, I still want you to take a picture right now of just what we did, so I saw that you participated. But what would be even better is if you were to color it in. Now, you might not even have a brown and a yellow crayon. We had to just sort of gather up what Mrs. Adams had in my tubs and just give a handful to each student. That's all we could do. So, it doesn't matter. Do I ever make you draw or color it exactly what I think it should look like? No, it does not matter. I want you to color in with whatever you can. Okay, so if you are gonna have a pink and purple and blue sunflower, awesome, fun, okay? It can be an abstract sunflower. You do not have to make the brown center with the yellow petals, of course, okay? If you want an orange and yellow polka dot sunflower, great, do it, okay? We're just doing the best that we can, just like with your other classes, just like with everything else going on, we're just doing the best we can. But I do want you to take a picture no matter what and upload it on that link where you upload your, and if you need help, get on my Google Meet at 8:30 Monday through Friday, and I can walk you through that step. So, but you do need to show me your work every single time, because I tried to get out of grades, guys, I really did, but we got to do grades, okay? So, you will be graded on your drawings with me, okay? And just participate. You'll be set, okay? So, I hope that you guys had fun. We're gonna do another lesson next week. I hope you have a safe weekend. I have missed you, but I'm excited because it kind of feels like we're together again. So anyway, fourth graders, I love you. I hope you have an awesome week and a great first day. Welcome back to school. Love you guys.